Hello, everybody. This is Mr. Vaughn with notes for Chapter 1, Lesson 1, Video Lesson 1.1. We're going to talk about GCF and LCM today. So, you might remember that GCF stands for, think about it, Greatest Common Factor. Greatest Common Factor. So, pause the video and write that down real quick. So, Greatest Common Factor means the biggest number, that's the greatest part, that will go into, that's the factor part, two numbers that they both have in common. So the biggest number that will go into two different numbers. So come back to in my words in just a second. We're going to do a couple examples here. So there's a couple different ways you can do this. I'm going to show you the longer way first and then the shorter way second. So GCF of 12 and 18. So we are looking for the biggest number that will go into, that is a factor of both 12 and 18. Make that a little bit bigger. So the first thing you're going to do is list all of the factors, list all the numbers that will go into 12. So 1 goes into 12, 2, 3, 4, does 5? Nope. 6, yes. And 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 don't go into 12, but 12 goes into 12. Those are all the factors of 12. Now do the same thing for 18. 1 goes into 18, 2 goes into 18, 3 goes into 18, 4, 5, no, but 6 does, 7, 8 doesn't, but 9 goes into 18. And then 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 don't go into 18, but 18 goes into 18. If you know your math facts, this will come pretty easy. If you don't, get that math facts chart and double check yourself. You'll have to scan down to look for 12s, see all the things that will go into 12, and scan down the chart and look for 18s. So now that we've listed all the factors, they do have a lot of them in common. 1 they have in common, 2 they have in common, 3 they have in common, 6 they have in common. The biggest number, the greatest number that they have in common is 6. So the GCF equals 6. Greatest common factor of that. Now, if you know your math facts really well and you're comfortable with this, the shorter way is to think of the smaller number, which in this case would be the 12, and go backwards from the numbers that go into it. So you would be thinking about this in your head. Well, 12 goes into 12, but 12 doesn't go into 18. The next biggest number that goes into 12 is 6. Does 6 go into 18? Yes, it does. And so that is your GCF. Okay. If you didn't understand that, it's fine. Just do the listing one. So GCF of 14 and 28, same dealio. I'm going to separate this with a line, 14 and 28. So list all the factors, and sometimes this can take a while, right? 1, 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, but 7 does, and then 14. You'll also notice that as I'm listing these factors, once I get halfway, I can go straight to the number. So halfway to 14 is 7. As soon as I get to 7, you just skip straight to 14, because 2 times 7 equals 14. There's nothing else that's smaller than that that'll go into 14 besides 1, right? So same thing for 28. Not 3, 4 does, though. 5, 6, 7 does. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 does. And then we're halfway to 28 at 14, so I can just go straight to 14, or straight to 28. So a few things they have in common, 1 and 2, but the biggest number, that the factor that they have in common, is 14. So the GCF, where am I going to write this? GCF equals 14, and that is how you would write your answer. So again, using that shorter method, if I go to the smaller number and think of things that will go into 14, 14 goes into 14. Does 14 go into 28? Boom, then you're done. That's how that works. So go back and in your own words kind of explain what GCF is. explain what GCF is right there. And that you do have to have that filled out, but it will be different for everybody. So let's move on to the opposite, the least common multiple. So go through the words. Least means the smallest, common means the one they had in common, and multiple means a number that a number can go into. So it's going to be bigger this time, right? So if I said multiples of 5, it'd be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. All those numbers, 5 can go into them. Multiples of 2, 2, 4, 6, 8. That's why your elementary teacher had you memorize all those. So 6 is a multiple of 2, right? 8 is a multiple of 2 because 2 can go into it. So that's what least common multiple is. So you're going to do a similar thing down here when you're finding the least common multiple. You are going to list the numbers that they go into. So 14 goes into 14. 14 times 1 is 14. 14 times 2 is 28. 14 times 3 is 42. And, you might have to do some math off to the side. 14 times 4, I didn't work that out ahead of time. Let's see, 14 times 4, that's 16, 56. And you'll stop there. Sometimes you don't know where exactly to stop, but just stop after a reasonable amount. Now, 21 times 1 is 21. 21 times 2 is 42. And I can stop right there because now we have a number in common. And you're looking for the least common multiple. So as soon as you get to a number that both of the numbers can go into, you stop. LCM equals 42. Okay. Now in this next one, we have 3 numbers, and you could have 3 numbers with a GCF also. We have 3 numbers that we're looking to see what they go into. Sorry, you have to see my big hand there. 3, 5, and 6. So we're going to list the multiples of 3. 3 times 1, 3 times 2, 3 times 3, 3 times 4, 3 times 5, 3 times 6, 3 times 7. You don't really know how far out to go, but we're just going to go out a little ways. 27, 30, 33, 36. Let's see if that's far enough. Sorry, it's blurry, has to refocus. And then the 5s, of course, we'll do 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. That's probably far enough. Let's stop there. And then 6 times 1 is 6, times 2 is 12, 3 is 18, 24. Let's see, 30, 36. And let's see if we have any numbers in common. And we're looking for the smallest number we have in common. It's 30. 30. 30, and 30. So the LCM equals 30. So I'm going to show you a shortcut for that, similar to what we did with the GCF. So on this, instead of looking at the smaller of the 2 numbers, like we did up here for the greatest common factor, I want you to look at the largest number. So we're going to look at the 6 in this case, and just go with the multiples of 6. 6 times 1 is 6. Can 3 and 5 go into 6? No. 12 is the next thing on 6's. And you'd be thinking this in your head, or you could just write down those factors. 12. 3 can go into 12, but 5 can't go into 12, so that's it. 6 times 3 is 18. 3 goes into 18, but 5 doesn't go into 18. 6 times 4 is 24. 3 goes into 24, but not 5. And then 6 times 5 is 30. 5 goes into 30. 3 goes into 30. So you know the LCM is 30. So again, the shortcut with that would be just find the multiples of 6, whether you can do it in your head or you list them out, and then consider whether the other 2 numbers go into it. If you don't understand how to do that, or math facts aren't your strong point, strong suit, list them out like this. Okay? Go ahead and go back to LCM and tell me what it is, or put in your notes what it is in your own words, and then do these 2 problems, and we'll go over them in class later. Thank you.